Few 1990s action films made such a lasting impression as The Rock, combining intense suspense with unforgettable performances. It paired a seasoned icon with one of the era's most unpredictable stars, all under the guidance of a young director discovering his style. Audiences came for explosions and spectacle, but the lasting appeal lies in the behind-the-scenes stories. From unexpected script changes and unusual production hurdles to subtle character details, countless elements shaped the movie into the classic it is remembered as today. First, the tribute to Don Simpson. Even before the action begins, the film carries a meaningful dedication. In the opening credits, viewers are reminded of a figure who never lived to see the movie's release. Don Simpson, the larger-than-life producing partner of Jerry Bruckheimer, passed away just months prior to the debut. His impact on blockbuster cinema was immense, having helped create hits such as Top Gun and Beverly Hills Cop. Simpson's absence left Bruckheimer to lead The Rock alone, marking a turning point in his career. Though easy to miss, the dedication serves as a reminder that the film arrived at the end of a Hollywood era. Behind all the explosions, there's a quiet acknowledgement of a man whose career shaped the style of action spectacle the film embodies. Honoring Simpson, The Rock becomes more than an action movie. It's a tribute to the partnerships, risks, and creative forces defining a decade of memorable blockbusters. Next, Hummel's grave scene. The opening sets a tone very different from typical high-octane thrillers. Rather than immediately diving into action, the film begins with quiet reflection. A decorated general stands before his wife's grave, laying flowers and kissing the headstone. Though subtle, this frames the character's journey profoundly. Rather than being one-dimensional, the film shows grief and love motivating his actions. His choices are driven not by greed or chaos, but by loyalty to fallen soldiers and his lost partner. Ed Harris delivers this moment with restraint, portraying a man torn between duty and personal heartbreak, grounding the antagonist in human experience. From the start, The Rock signals that its conflicts are built on emotion as much as spectacle. Third, the script doctors you'd never guess. The Rock stands out from other action films of its era because of sharp dialogue and the balance of humor with high-stakes tension. This wasn't accidental. Though the original draft was credited to David Weisberg and Douglas Cook, the script passed through several notable writers who added their touches before filming. Quentin Tarantino is said to have contributed witty exchanges, Aaron Sorkin added rapid-fire dialogue, and Jonathan Hensleigh reshaped set pieces for cinematic effect. None received official credit, yet their influence is felt throughout. The result is a layered film, with humor landing sharply, lines carrying weight, and character moments resonating, giving The Rock a timeless edge. Fourth, Connery defends Bay. On set, tensions ran high as costs rose and schedules stretched. Disney executives worried that young director Michael Bay was in over his head. At a critical point, Sean Connery intervened. Learning of a planned executive confrontation, he entered uninvited and defended Bay, insisting the studio let him complete his vision. The effect was immediate. Bay gained freedom, the studio stepped back, and the final film maintained its polish and confidence. Without Connery's support, The Rock may not have become the blockbuster audiences remember. Fifth, General Hummel inspired by reality. Unlike typical action villains, Hummel is shown as a man burdened by conscience, motivated by principles rather than power. This depth came from real-world sources. Military controversies and unrecognized soldier sacrifices influenced his motivations. Memoirs by Colonel David Hackworth also shaped the character. By grounding him in real frustrations, audiences could almost sympathize. Ed Harris's performance balanced restraint and conviction, showing a man driven to extreme measures by grief and loyalty. This realism sets The Rock apart from other action films of its time. Sixth, Goodspeed's clean mouth. Amid chaos, one character stands out for what he refuses to say. Nicolas Cage chose for Stanley Goodspeed, despite life-or-death situations, to avoid profanity. This unusual decision made the character feel more believable as a bookish, intelligent FBI chemical expert, contrasting with hardened soldiers. The restraint adds humor and charm, with frantic reactions feeling earned. This subtlety distinguishes him from other 1990s action heroes and adds layers to the film. 7th, filming amid tourists on Alcatraz. Using the former prison posed unique challenges. Alcatraz is a national park, so the crew couldn't close it. While filming, real tourists wandered nearby, occasionally appearing in shots and requiring retakes. For Bay, it added unpredictability, but shooting on location gave authenticity. The cold stone walls, peeling paint, and eerie halls weren't recreated. They were real, enhancing the intensity and making action sequences feel grounded in genuine history. 8th, sneaky locations beyond the rock. Not all sequences were on Alcatraz. To capture wide-ranging danger, Bay used San Francisco locations, including the historic Fairmont Hotel balcony sequence. The stunt looked so realistic that locals reported it to authorities. This realism was both beneficial and challenging. Using real streets and landmarks gave the film a gritty texture, making its explosive scenes feel like intrusions into everyday life, heightening immediacy decades later. 9th, Bay's format gamble. The Rock was a technical experiment. Bay used Super 35 format, allowing wider images and flexible framing, ideal for corridors and tunnels. Though initially dissatisfied with results, the widescreen scope gave the film cinematic sweep, setting it apart from his debut, Bad Boys, and establishing the epic scale Bay would later be known for. 10th, Bay's blockbuster breakthrough. The Rock marked Michael Bay's rise as a leading blockbuster director. Following Bad Boys, he demonstrated his ability to handle large-scale projects with stunts, quick cuts, and slow motion, later called Bayhum. Unlike some of his later films, The Rock balanced story and spectacle, with Connery and Cage elevating performances. The film connected with audiences, launching Bay into major blockbuster projects like Armageddon and Transformers, while remaining his most polished, respected work where style and substance align. 11th, film influencing intelligence. Years later, a British informant referenced chemical weapons programs, describing VX gas storage matching the film's fictional plot, not reality. This highlighted how convincingly The Rock presented danger, blurring fiction and fact, and influencing real-world discussions. The film demonstrated the power of Hollywood imagery in shaping perception. 12th, Zimmer and Glennie Smith score. The music drives action as much as visuals. Hans Zimmer and Nick Glennie Smith blended rock energy with orchestral power, creating a pulse felt throughout. The score influenced other 1990s action films and echoed in Zimmer's later work on Gladiator, Pirates of the Caribbean, and The Dark Knight. The score's energy matches the story's intensity, making high-stakes sequences thunderous and unforgettable. 13th, unproduced sequel idea. The ending left room for continuation, with Goodspeed holding secret microfilm. Bay imagined a sequel with both men hunted by authorities, blending espionage, conspiracy, and action. The project never advanced, leaving The Rock as a complete, self-contained story, preserving its legacy without diluting the original. 14th, not about The Rock. Today, the title can confuse younger audiences who think of Dwayne Johnson. The 1996 film is unrelated to the wrestler. The title refers to Alcatraz. Though obvious to fans, mix-ups continue in trivia and conversation, keeping the movie relevant and reinforcing its place as a 1990s action classic. 15th, Connery's cabin demand. To avoid daily ferry rides, Connery requested a cabin on Alcatraz for convenience. The production obliged. The cabin reflected his influence and practicality, allowing focus and efficiency. It became part of production lore, symbolizing Connery's star power and dedication that gave the film weight and gravitas. 16th, box office boom. Despite risky production and delays, The Rock became one of 1990 SIX's biggest hits. Made for $75 million, it grossed over $335 million worldwide, ranking fourth for the year alongside Independence Day. For Bruckheimer, it affirmed his blockbuster formula. For Bay, it validated his energetic style. The film became a cultural touchstone, proving audiences still craved bold, large-scale action. 17th, crediting controversy. Behind-the-scenes drama included disputes over screenplay credit. Jonathan Hensley contributed extensively, but was denied recognition by the Writers Guild of America, which credited only the original writers and Mark Rosner. They called the decision a travesty, highlighting Hollywood's unseen politics, where creative recognition can be as contentious as on-screen action. 18. Connery's real stunt work. At an age when many actors might have avoided physically demanding scenes, Sean Connery was determined to take them on himself. During the filming of The Rock, he insisted on performing many of his own stunts, especially in the intense prison escape sequences. His dedication impressed the crew, though it also made them anxious, as several maneuvers required quick reflexes and carried real risk. Connery felt that executing the stunts personally would add authenticity to his character, and his confidence encouraged others to allow him to take on more than they had expected. Watching him navigate narrow corridors and execute action sequences with sharp precision gave John Mason a toughness that no stunt double could match. This choice highlighted Connery's professionalism and strengthened the realism of his performance. His willingness to face danger at 65 helped make The Rock feel grounded, giving Mason an unforgettable edge. 19. Critical reception split. When The Rock premiered, reactions revealed a clear divide between critics and audiences. Professional reviewers were mixed, with Rotten Tomatoes rating it around 67% and Metacritic even lower. Some praised the strong performances and emotional depth delivered by Sean Connery and Ed Harris, while others felt Michael Bay's style relied too heavily on spectacle. Moviegoers, however, reacted differently. Audience polling through CinemaScore resulted in a strong